How's it going, YouTube? It's Ollie, the tea guru. I have in front of me two premium releases from Haiwan Tea Factory. I have the ripe and raw good tea for everyone cake. Don't just love that name. But let's see if we love the tea. We're going to do the ripe and then the raw. So let's get cracking and take a look, shall we? So, Haiwan now has, I believe it's the managing director of Haiwan used to oversee the Dai or Munghai Tea Factory processing department for 2 decades, nearly 2 decades. So you would hope that Haiwan really knows what they're doing with their teas, and they do, Munghai area leaves that comprises this particular cake, the good tea for everyone cake from Haiwan. They've, again, in the style of Dai, they have they've mingled new and more aged ripe to be able to offer a tea cake that can be drunk very quickly and not have to rest a while before it gets drunk. This is a 2017. So let's get cracking. Ooh, compression is pretty tough. Wow, you are a little beast, aren't you? Even though compression is pretty tight, it's not an iron cake, but it is pretty tight. I'm doing an easy job of picking out what I want to from this little cheeky monkey. I'm using near boiling water with my mini Haiwan, as I like to do at the moment. So I'll probably put about 5 grams in here, something like that. I eyeball it. Yeah, so I've just done the rinse, and the aroma is pretty deep, pretty bassy. It's got a nice creaminess to the aroma, and a touch of what I like to call the sort of perfumey notes that that Munghai, a good Munghai ripes can produce. It's quite hard to nail down sort of flavour profiles with ripe because they're all quite similar. You know what I mean? All I can do is kind of say it's a bit like this, it's a bit like this, it's a bit like this. But they're all, you know, all ripes have their own sort of unique character, but they're all sort of, the spectrum of flavour is so tight. I do struggle a little bit to explain and carry across the differences between ripes sometimes. You know, you might hear me come out with the same stuff. No fishiness at all. I mean, it's 2017 cake, so you got to wonder whether this is ready to go or not, and it smells beautiful. Bit of a hard hitter. It's got a bit of strength and backbone going on. The finish is, if you can imagine a ripe being not astringent, but that very that strong flavour you can sometimes get along the cheeks on the finish. Yeah, it's a very broad flavour. It's kind of like being a beefy sort of flavour, but without overdoing it, you know? Kind of subtle in its broadness of flavour. Does that make sense? Like it's strong, it's strong flavoured ripe, but without brashness and without some of these cheaper ripes can have a very broad and very brash and very strong flavour. This is going there, but not to the point where it's kind of overbearing. So it's holding it back, which is quite beautiful, and it's tasting good. Infusion number 2, people. It's putting out straight away. You little hussy. It's ready to go. You put the water in and boom, I'm ready. I'm ready to be drunk. So yeah, let's do as the tea wishes and pour it out straight. Very flash. What's that, 5 seconds or something? Darker, deeper. Oh. Wow. I'm going to give you a close-up of these leaves for a ripe. It's looking quite good quality. No stalks really going on. Alright, so here is the state of the leaf after just 2 infusions. And I like the quality. Kind of not little chunky little bits. No stalkage going on. Nice. That's nice. A lot of buds in here as well, hence the creamy nature. Yeah, it's got some clout. Strength with elegance, I would put this. Yeah, it's a fully flavoured ripe, but not brash. I mean, it's smooth. It's going down the throat, lovely. A good ripe should. So, hot off the press, this is quite tasty. Give it a few years, it's just going to get better. Smoother. Some of those complexities might pop out a little bit more. I reckon 3 or 4 years in Guangdong, and this baby might be a real winner. You know, I like my Guangdong ripes. I really do. It's like ripe. I don't think ripe has much to lose or anything to lose, to be honest, if stored in Guangdong for a reasonable amount of time. I think any ripe that's been stored in Guangdong for like 5, 6, 7 years is just going to get better. A Kunming storage ripe, I can't compare, and it's because, you know, some people might not like the taste profile of a raw that's been stored in Guangdong 5, 6, 7, 8 years. But a ripe, it doesn't really. I mean, the changes have already been made. It's already fermented, so there's not much. There's not much that can go wrong with Guangdong storage. All that's going to happen is it's just going to smooth out quicker. You know, maybe a Guangdong storage ripe over sort of 8-10 years, you might get sort of differences. Tell me if I'm wrong, people. Tell me your experiences. But I think a Guangdong storage ripe has much more going for it. 5 years or so than a Kunming. I mean, this one this is straight off the boat, hot off the press. So this hasn't seen much storage at all, apart from it being in Tea Guru Towers for a week, which hasn't done much. But no, it's all good. Fusion 3. More the same. Big beefy flavours. Smooth. It's just it's well rounded in its strength. It's not like acute sort of bitter. You know how a ripe can be bitter in its own sort of ripe way. It's not acute ripe bitterness, if that's a thing. It's going that way, and it's just got the smooth nature as well. It's quite well rounded in that respect. Just finished the 3rd infusion, and there's a tiny bit of sweetness there clinging onto the palate. Incidentally, both of these 2 cakes, the Haiwan Good Tea for Everyone Ripe and Good Tea for Everyone Raw, are both the same price. They're both coming in at £27.50 per cake. You know, I think they're good value for money. We're going to dig into the raw now and see. We are on the Haiwan Good Tea for Everyone Raw. This is a blend of many areas, Bulang, Pasha, Nanuo and Bada tea mountains. So I mean, at this price point, they're basically saying that, you know, this is a premium production by them, and yeah, I mean they've gone for a few different areas to add a lot of complexity, and I was happy with this. Last time I tried this was about a couple of months ago. And yeah, it's a good blend. If you're into your blends, you know, dai blends, etc. You'll like this cake. You'll like this cake. You know, dai, they've got that reputation that they're so dependable in aging their tea. They know this. You know, they put the price up a bit. You know, there's a lot of markup there. The biggest tea factory, the biggest Puerh tea factory in the world. Yeah, they do a lot of advertising and marketing, and they've got to pay for that and what have you. But I think if this tea cake came out of Dai, you'd be paying more money for it, like that. Yeah, I mean, you know, without even trying it, I can tell you that this is going to age nicely. I really do think it's got some good potential. I mean, it's got some complexity. It's a strong tea. Strong blend. I mean, these big factory blends usually are quite strong. It's going to age well. Brewing parameters slightly different. I'm using a bigger Haiwan. I've got probably, in fact, what I'll do, I'll take some of that out, and I will take out the big chunks, so it's going to put out more of that flavour more quicker. And I've probably got about 5 grams in there. I'm going to brew this low water. Enough for a small cup. So a similar situation to here. I love my little bamboo forever cup. I did sell this once upon a time. I had a few of them, but they sold really slowly. Hand painted. I mean, I really adore these little things. Let's do a little close up. There we go. Look at that. Beautiful, hand painted. This is the last one. I mean, you know, they've all gone. But they just didn't really sell well. A lot of my teaware doesn't really sell very much. My Puerh just goes out the door very quickly. But yeah, let's go for the first rinse. Oh, that's nice. Very green. Oh, where to put that in an aroma? How am I going to explain? Slightly sweet. Quite sort of deep, strong and green. The slightest touch of smoke. Slightest touch. But, you know, these big tea factories, it's just hard to get away from the smokiness. I mean, when they're processing this tea, it's just, it's a miracle you're going to get a cake out of there that's not a little bit smoky, at least to start with, you know. But no, the slightest touch of smoke. And I think really, when people go for blends, they're going for the strong nature, generally. Very fresh tea. Green in the cup, almost. Yeah, pretty green. That's what we're talking about. Nice, you know, it's not really chopped up. Nice leaves. Yeah, very green leaves, very green. Most likely plantation. The aroma's kicking out of the Haiwan. You know, you just get the little hint of sort of raw sort of sweetness just whiffing out to you. The taste is kind of what you expect. It's not too brash, it's not too big. It's got that sort of strength behind it as you'd expect and as you probably want in a blended raw like this. Sort of vegetal notes, bitterness level, not abrasive. It's there. It's got that strength of character as well as the strength of bitterness behind it. And a lovely kind of vegetal aftertaste on the finish. Very vegetal. Yeah, it's not the sort of I'm not big on the sort of hay flavors you kind of get with some raws like Wuliang, and some other ones. The hay is a bit not for me, but this is more sort of vegetal, you know. And the reason why I picked this one, this is infusion number 2. The reason why I picked this blend is it's got a nice bit of oomph behind it, but it's got a nice sort of aftertaste. But this shows it's got some nice characteristics early on. These vegetative notes are going to sort of settle down and get more complex over time. I'm going to be steeping this a little bit longer to get more of those notes out. But it's definitely got some kind of like green tea characteristics. The odd sort of Bailu Chun note coming out. A little bit of sort of nuttiness, maybe, the wisps of nuttiness. So one may be forgiven. A beginner maybe would be forgiven for thinking this is a green tea. It's a very strong green tea. You know. Yeah. But the leaves are nice. I mean, just like the ripe as well. They're nice and intact. They're not sort of chopped up and messed up. You know, it's a bit more careful when putting the cake together. More bitterness, more stringency, a lot more actually. Not brash and overbearing. The power's there. Folding back into slight bitterness. That astringency, light astringency and bitterness just clinging to the palate. This has got some future promise. Powerful, powerful. I can't really attach any what I would call smokiness to it. Oh, okay, in the finish, tiny little bit of smokiness in the finish. But it's very minute. It just sort of adds to the complexity of the finish. That sweetness starting to pop now. I mean, it's actually a really pleasant blend. Again, like the ripe, it's weird. It's got that power behind it, but it's also got that kind of smooth elegance to it as well. Quite interesting what they've done. Instead of being like, you know, some of these dai cakes, these newer blends, when they come hot off the press, they can be really brash in your face and not really palatable. This is definitely palatable right now. It's strong and still elegant. And it's quite smooth. I wouldn't say it's salivating, but I wouldn't say it's hyper mouth pucker either. Kind of in the middle. It's smooth. Fusion 3. I've got some char chi kicking in now. I can feel that. And about 10 seconds after you drink, that aftertaste comes through. Well, the aftertaste comes through straight away, but it's just that sweetness pops. Delightful. Make sure you're brewing up with Brita filtered water, I suggest. I've seen a life of change with the tea that I'm drinking with Brita filtered water. I've tried a few bottled waters, but they just, you know, Brita filtered, I don't know how it's done, but just the sweetness just pops. I'm probably about a minute after my last steeping. I've still got a bit of sweetness back there. That bitterness is clinging to the back of my palate. Not in a bad way at all, it's there. It's a powerful tea, but not brash. Those kind of green tea similarities I was edging towards in the first steeping have kind of gone now. the tea's opening up. The aftertaste is getting more and more close. So, for example, in steep number 2, it took about 10 seconds for the sweetness to kind of pop, and now I just had a quick sip, and the sweetness pops after like 1 second. You can buy both these teas on the site right now. They're both priced up at £27.50 for a full cake, 357 grams. Be very interesting to see how this goes in, say, 5 or 7 years' time. Char Chi building, very good. So, thank you very much for stopping by. It's Ollie from Green Tea Guru. See you on the next episode. Happy cupping.
GreenTeaGuru.co.uk offers green tea, white tea, black tea, oolong tea, and we absolutely love Puerh tea, with offerings of Misty Peaks, Yunnan sourcing, Mung Hai, and Haiwan. We regularly visit Hong Kong and Guangdong, sourcing out very interesting and special cakes for your tea table. Green Tea Guru, based in UK with worldwide delivery.